Hey, I'm Mark and this is my review of the Tesla Model 3 2021 edition, and this is the Made in China model. In this video, I'll be covering the model I purchased and why, a full look at the interior and exterior, plus answering the questions: what is it like to drive? Is Autopilot any good? And how do you charge without a home charger? I'll also include all of the timestamps below in case you want to jump ahead to a particular section. So I purchased the Tesla Model 3 long range, and as you can see, I went for the black model with upgraded white interior and the 19-inch wheels, which I think looks great. So why did I pick this model? Well, for my personal needs, the standard range didn't have quite enough range for the typical journeys that I do. You see, I live in Manchester, but have friends and family in Norfolk, Chichester and Middlesbrough, so it's quite often that I'll do a 500-mile round trip in a single weekend. Now, I was so close to buying the performance model. It looks great, but I didn't purchase it for a couple of small reasons. Number one, I need as much range as possible, and of course that's the long range. And number two, I really didn't like the black turbine wheels. Now, I know a lot of people love these, but I just prefer the silver and black combo, and you don't get the option to change this on the performance model. Now, I do love a fast car, so what I decided to do was go for the long range, saving £10,000, and then I'm going to pay £1,500 for the speed boost to make it almost as quick as the performance model. So I will be doing a full video on that upgrade very soon, so you can see for yourself if you think it's worth it. Now, with all of the upgrades, which included a £1,000 black paint option, a £1,500 19-inch wheel upgrade, and the £1,000 premium white interior upgrade, it increased my purchase price to just over £50,000, making it the most I've ever spent on a car. However, as I run my own business, there are some huge tax savings and benefits at the moment, so I won't end up paying anywhere near that. So if you're a business owner and you want to find out more about how I save money on the Tesla Model 3, make sure you hit that notification bell when you subscribe, and you'll be notified of that video when it goes live. Now, a day before I placed my order, there was news that the UK was going to be getting the Made in China models. I was actually a little worried at first that the build quality might not be as good as the American models. But from reports so far, it seems that the Chinese models have many less faults reported than the original US models. Mine arrived without any panel gaps, glass problems, or any issues at all, to be honest. If you want to see that collection day video, I'll pop the video up here in the corner. So some people have asked me, how do you know if you've got a Made in China model, and also what's new in the 2021 editions? So for the 2021 US and Chinese models, there are improvements to the boot, so water doesn't go all over your bags, a new powered boot which can open and close with this little button or directly from the app, a new matte center console with wireless phone chargers, dechromed exterior, and improved headlights. The biggest tell to know if you've got the Made in China model is they've taken the center console design and wrapped it to the doors, so you now have a new door insert card, which looks really good. You also get a heated steering wheel, which is honestly amazing for cold British winters. Now let's talk exterior design. This is my old car. I'm coming from a Jaguar F-Type, which really is quite a different beast. I really do think the F-Type is a beautiful car, especially from the back. Now, I've been lucky enough to own Mercedes, BMWs, and even a Porsche, and I'm not saying that to brag, but I think it's nice to compare the build quality of those types of cars against the Teslas, as they are in the same kind of price range. Even though the ones I owned were always second-hand models with quite high mileage, and I usually paid between £10,000 to £15,000 for them. So I really do like the front of the Model 3. In some angles, I actually think it looks a little Porsche looking. It reminds me of this, the Porsche Panamera. What do you think? Now, if I'm honest, I'm not a massive fan of the back of the Model 3. It's starting to grow on me, but I just felt it looks a little safe at times from a design perspective. There's nothing horrible about it, it's just there's nothing super exciting about it either. And again, coming from the F-Type, which has one of the nicest backs to any car in my opinion, I think I was always going to be a little disappointed in this area. But overall, I think the Model 3 looks great. There's just something very unique about it, and I really do think they look much better in person than they do in any photos. So let's look at the interior. I really love this. It's super bright, and with the amazing panoramic roof, it just feels so light and spacious. It really is a nice place to be. I'm also a big fan of the minimalism of the interior. It's literally just the steering wheel and a huge 15-inch screen. I think that many other cars have way too many dials and controls, so I love it that Tesla has just gone the opposite way and carved a new path. So what's the interior build like? Well, I personally think the build quality is very nice, and I would say it's on par with most of the German cars I've had. I still think Mercedes is probably one of the best interiors you can get, but of course, that's all subjective. The stitching in the Tesla is nice. There's no squeaks or noises, apart from a very small one that I'll talk about later on. And the sound system is easily one of the best I've had in any car. Now, as there's no gear stick in the center, you also get a ton of space for sunglasses, cables, drinks, and bags of sweets, perfect for any long journey. So as you probably know, everything in a Tesla is controlled by this massive 15-inch screen. Now, I'm a bit of a tech nerd, so I like this way of doing things. But if you're not really into technology or computers, you may be a little bit worried. Would you find this easy to use? Well, I really think you would. If you can use an iPad, you'll be very familiar with how this works. It's laid out really, really well. The user interface is kind of really nice. So I think it's a big plus for the Tesla. In addition to having huge maps for navigation, you get full Spotify integration, internet radio, tune-in, and even karaoke. Yes, karaoke. Then when you're charging parked up, you get the ability to watch Netflix or even play some games. And you know what? The game selection is actually pretty good. Did you know you can even connect a controller to the car? How crazy is that? I've also worked out a way to run the BBC iPlayer and some other streaming services on the car too, and I'll be going over this in another video. So what's it actually like to drive? Okay, I love driving this car. It's just so smooth and so fast. It's by far one of the fastest cars I've ever driven, and it's going to get even faster when I purchase that speed boost. When you put your foot down, you get instant speed, which is something only an EV can provide, as there aren't any gears. The seats are really comfortable and they have loads of control, so you can get the seats just perfect. And best of all, these settings can be saved to your own driver profile. It's always annoying when someone else drives your car because you can never seem to get the seat position quite right again. With this, simply tap your name and the seats will move into your perfect driving position. I've even set one up called Office, which I use when using my laptop when I'm charging. The seat moves right back and the steering wheel just gets up and out of the way. Okay, when you buy a Model 3, there's definitely some things you need to get used to. And the first one is braking regen. So regen is essentially a way of the car putting energy back into the battery. But essentially what happens, if you let go of the accelerator, the car brakes quite suddenly. It almost feels like someone's got their foot on your brake and they're pressing it down. So, it does take a little while to get used to. The first couple of drives I had with it, I wasn't too sure about it, but you do get used to it. And what's great is that you can drive with just one pedal, just the accelerator, and you start getting used to when you should maybe take your foot off the accelerator to stop at the lights and roundabouts and things like that. Now, of course, you can turn off regen, but I wouldn't recommend it because you're then losing out on the efficiency of putting energy back into your battery. Okay, the second thing, which is a little difficult to get used to, but it's probably one of the main reasons you're interested in the car like I was, is Autopilot. Now, it's a little bit scary. The first time you double tap it down and the car starts driving itself, it's just incredible. It's really crazy. And it still blows my mind every time I use it, that the car is driving, it's steering, it's braking, it's accelerating all by itself. It's just mind blowing. But it does take a little while to get used to that feeling of the car kind of just completely taking over. Now, I've got the basic Autopilot package, and at the moment, I don't really have any intention of getting the enhanced or the full self-drive, just because I've been speaking to a few people on some Facebook Tesla groups, and they say in the UK, it's a little bit better than Autopilot, but it doesn't do a great job of roundabouts, and the summon features a little bit limited here in Europe, and even the parking features don't work as well as they could. I might upgrade in the future, but at the moment I'm going to stick with what I've got. Okay, so I purchased the Tesla and I don't have a home charger, and I'm not planning on getting one installed either. Now, I know a few people are going to go crazy in the comments saying you can't own an electric car without a home charger, but I'm going to try and show how that's possible on this channel. And there are a couple of reasons why I'm not getting a home charger installed. Number one, we may be moving in 12 months time. We're not sure yet. but for that reason, I don't know if I want that large expense if we're going to end up moving straight away. And secondly, we don't have a driveway and our front garden is far too long. We'd need to rip up the entire front lawn to put a charger at the end of the garden. Now, luckily for me, there are two 50 kilowatt rapid chargers within about 800 meters of my house. There's also another 50 kilowatt charger at the supermarket I use. Plus, there's also a few free public chargers not too far away from my office in the city. Now, I know it will be a little bit more inconvenient than using a 10-minute petrol station stop, but honestly, I think it's going to be fine. I'll definitely make sure to do an update video in a few months just to let you know how I'm getting on. So far, I've had the car nearly a month, and you'd think that using public charging only would be quite expensive. Well, so far, I haven't paid a single pound to charge the car, which is just crazy. I've been lucky that I've had free public charging near work, free charging at the supermarket, and there's even a free 50 kilowatt charger just up the road. I also got one free charge at BP Pulse too. So if you don't know anyone with a Tesla referral link, I'll make sure to put mine in the description box below. And make sure you use that before you buy your car, and it means you get 1,000 free supercharging miles. And it also means I get 1,000 free too. So thanks very much in advance if you do use my link. It means I can do more videos just like this. So I just want to round up the video with some of the things I'm loving about the car and some of the things I'm not so in love with. First off, having a zero emissions car is just so great. I know there's a lot of discussion about this online, but knowing I'm driving into one of the UK's biggest cities every day and I give out zero emissions really makes me feel better about driving in. Speed is the next thing. It's just so instant and so fun. Honestly, I don't think I'll ever get bored driving this car. The sound system is perfect, and I really do like Tesla's interface. Yes, it takes a little while to get used to, but just like using an iPad, once you get the hang of it, it feels strange to use anything else. There's also Sentry Mode and the built-in dash cams. The quality of these cameras are insanely good. I don't use Sentry Mode at home, but I do turn them on when I'm at a public charger, just in case something happens. Now, what are the things I don't love about the car? So whilst I haven't had any major issues, there are a couple of minor things that I've had. Firstly, I got a stone chip on the first day of ownership. Now, I'm not sure if this was there on pickup, but Tesla have said they're going to fix this for me. I also have a very slight squeak in the back of the car, which Tesla are also going to take a look at. It's nothing super major, but it's just something that I thought I'd get them to look at whilst the car's in for the chip. I've also heard about a lot of Tesla paintwork issues online, so I'm really hoping mine is not going to have any of those issues. Now, in terms of driving issues, the only one I've had is with the wipers. One day they just came on and they wouldn't switch off. It was a sunny day too, with no rain at all. Now, it hasn't done it since, but also I haven't driven it in the rain yet either, so I need to keep an eye on that. So after 4 weeks, am I happy with my purchase of the car? Well, you know what? It's a big yes from me. I'd heard so many horror stories from Tesla forums about build quality issues, paint issues and things like that, and coupled with the fact that I don't have a home charger, that when I pressed that purchase button, I did start to regret the purchase a little bit. But you know what? 4 weeks in, I'm absolutely loving it. It hasn't been a problem at all not having a home charger, and I'm really looking forward to the first long journey that we're going to do, and that's going to be to Cornwall in a few weeks' time. So make sure you stay on the channel if you want to see that video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.